Hello! Today is Tuesday, November 30th, 2021, and this is a bonus episode of the One Episode Rule podcast about first impressions. I'm Magpie, and I think it's about time to get everybody in the stuff together.
So yeah, we're gonna be we're gonna be watching something really well. We can't make judgment on it yet, but maybe we want to introduce ourselves first.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourselves, and we'll discuss the ponderous beast we are faced with.
Well, I'm Blackhole. I I actually had Thanksgiving dinner this weekend, even though I'm not American, so that was pretty cool. Not a
Yes.
normal occurrence. So
An honor rarely afforded to your kind.
yeah, exactly.
It's pretty exciting. Hi, I'm Joey, and I actually consumed quite a bit of anime since last time we met each other here. So I finished The Promised Neverland.
Oh,
I
yeah?
also watched Madoka. I watched more of Rent-a-Girlfriend. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's been eating it up.
Just been
And
eating
And
it
now,
up.
and now we can't even cover it because it's not a regular episode.
No, it's not. I just wanted you all to know what I've been watching.
About your accomplishments.
For the record, Promised Neverland, fine. It's fun. Madoka, good. Watch it. Rent-a-Girlfriend, watch it if you want something funny. The end.
Excellent.
Good to know.
Excellent. Hi everybody, it's me, Emma, again.
Welcome back.
I just can't stay away from these tasty little bonus episodes.
We're gonna have to start putting and sometimes Emma on here like Samurai
Yeah.
Jack and his hat.
Yes.
That's so true.
Sometimes with Emma.
I'm happy to be back. I would love to be back more often, but the problems.
You know how it is.
You know how it is with spaghetti.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always falling out of pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason we have to do a bonus episode is everybody knows why we have to do a bonus episode. Netflix Bebop is out and it's fresh.
Yep, we gotta get on it.
And if we wait too long to dig into this corpse, then it's no longer going to be relevant.
It'll
The rest
rot
of the-
away.
The rest of the ocean floor will have consumed it, and we'll just be left to pick at the whale bones.
Yeah, jeez.
Before we came in, I sat down and I watched the first two episodes of the original.
Oh, you should have told us we had
Extracurricular.
homework.
Yeah, beloved media property now has to be referred to as the original.
Uh-oh.
It made me remember almost immediately like how genuinely important it is to my like desire to watch any television anime.
Yes.
Because before that point, I basically just liked films.
Yes.
And then I watched that and Trigun, and I said, "Oh boy, this medium is great. I bet everything else in it is this good."
That's very like Shiba Inu, like innocent Shiba
Yes.
face meme energy.
I forgot how good the first episode, Asteroid Blues, is with the crazy guy with the drug that
His
he puts
red
in his
eyes.
and his Colombian girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also forgot that the second episode is about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar stealing a dog.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we meet Ayn. Well, I mean, who knows how they're divided in the show, but...
And he's just Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But yeah, I watched that. I forgot how melancholically it started with a clip of things to come in the first episode and the heartbreaking music box theme. So I'm all primed to get super fucking mad
Woohoo!
about this.
Let's get mad.
How experienced with the show are the rest of you? Because this is like foundational for me.
I watched the first episode and I didn't really grab me,
Mm.
honestly. So I do remember what it was like, but it didn't really fill me with a longing to watch the second episode. Is the problem?
Mm.
I used to watch it on Adult Swim whenever every single time it was on and I was up, I would watch
Mhm.
it absolutely. And then I also like independently watched it a couple of times on my own, like just the whole series all the way through. So I would say I have a pretty decent knowledge of the events.
This is where I get my weeb credentials stripped from me.
Eh.
The only episode of Cowboy Bebop that I have seen in its entirety involves an old lobster in the refrigerator.
Yep, you've
Oh yeah.
we
the
all know
cre-
that episode.
the creature.
Yes.
That one's an odd one to be the only one to see.
I know. Like every time I like read a think piece on Polygon
Uh-huh.
about the Cowboy Bebop, it's like, and everybody remembers the worst episode, the one where there's a lobster in the
The
refrigerator.
worst episode.
I wouldn't say it's the worst, but it definitely is an indicator.
It's one of the weirder episodes. For whenever you said the one episode you had seen, I was like, okay, it's either the fridge episode or the mushroom episode.
Mhm.
Fridge,
It's
everybody.
It's one of those
That's it.
iconic episodes.
I have at varying points attempted to watch the rest of the show,
Hmm.
but like literal like physical like fire drills and shit have happened every time I've tried to watch it.
Well, you should. If this doesn't put you off it, you should try it again, because one of the other things I noticed is I think it's the only reason I give English dubs for some shows the time of day.
It's a really good dub. It's a good dub.
It's a really good dub. Steve Bloom is great.
Yes.
I'll
All
have
right.
to make you guys sit through Fooly Cooly sometime.
I feel like the same thing that happened with you and Bebop has happened with me and Fully Cooley.
I'm very frightened to see the new Fully Cooley.
Yeah.
People are just like, "Hey, did you see the new ones?" I'm like, "No,
No.
I kind of,
I gotta go.
I gotta get out of here."
For Blackle, actually, I don't know if this will be accessible for you or not, Blackle, but it's like imagine if like your friend walked up to you and was like, "Hey, have you seen Fight Club 2?" Like, what do you fucking mean Fight Club 2? Like, why would they make another Fight Club?
What the fuck are you talking about? Well,
I have seen the first episode of Fooly Cooly.
All right. Well,
But
we're getting into the weeds a little here. We have
Yes.
to.
Yeah, a little
My
bit.
apologies.
We're gonna have to carry that weight. So, on November 21st, not 21st, 24th, Vice put out the most notorious article about this. We only really need to see the headline, which is Netflix's Cowboy Bebop isn't supposed to be good.
Well, I certainly hope not.
The fucking distilled cope of this. I saw somebody online try to defend it with, "Oh, you can't compare it to the original. It's just supposed to be a nostalgia romp." Well, what the fuck am I supposed to be nostalgic about then?
You can't compare it to the original, even though they scene for scene copied like most of the original.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's calm down and say at least one nice thing about it.
Okay, everyone
I
take a
thought-
turn.
Okay.
I'll start. I liked the opening like credit sequence, like the intro, like the OP. You know?
You like that because it was based on something great.
Yeah, I know that. I know that it's based on the anime, but I think that they did a stand-up job.
It's
like,
not quite as
converting
good.
it to live action.
Yeah, it's not quite as good, but it does have a dog in it.
Does
Yes.
have a doggo.
The dog shot was very good.
Yes.
We haven't seen any episodes with Ein in them, but
Probably the next one. Yeah.
the dog is going to be unimpeachable. He is a dog.
Yes.
Anyway, go on.
I like that they let Faye say fuck.
Okay.
That's my thing.
So here's my thing. The sets were impeccable.
Yes.
The lighting was bad a lot of the time, but the sets
Yes.
were impeccable.
I think so too.
And the CG was also pretty good. Which
Yeah.
was going to be necessary unless they were going to cut out all space content.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a given.
My one thing is I liked how handsome Jet Black is, which I've never thought about Jet Black before and never will again, because I'm never watching another episode of this as long as I live.
You're not going to come back just for Mustafa Shakir.
No, I don't think so.
All of the main cast was pretty attractive, I would say.
And his glue-on cybernetics. Okay, so
all right, now we've gotten that out of the way.
do we need to do a rundown? We might, because they kind of Frankenstein shit here.
There was.
This first episode was mainly based on the episode Asteroid Blues, which is the first episode. They moved some shit around, but in Asteroid Blues is basically about a guy named Asimov ripping off the mob and stealing a bunch of drugs to sell them so that he and his girlfriend can start a new life.
Yes.
So they start with the casino scene from Faye's episode, which is like 3 or more down the road.
Yeah, that was weird.
And they nab that guy, who puts in a great performance as a crazy guy. And take a quick jaunt to Ganymede to turn him in. But I should mention that most of the action in this episode takes place in New Tijuana, which is in like the asteroid belt. So Ganymede's a bit of a hop. We're kind of everywhere here.
Yeah.
Anyway, they go turn him in. He's not worth much, and Jet runs into his old partner. I forget who this. It's been a long time. It's the guy who worked with at ISSP. Who's apparently fucking Jeff's ex-wife.
Yeah.
Jeff Black.
Our new friend Jeff.
So our buddy Jet Foxworthy runs into his ugly friend, who is weird and bad to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, my daughter's birthday, and then
he keeps wedging it in because they only have so much time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then from there on, it pretty much proceeds as usual. They go to New Tijuana. They sniff around for Asimov, who's already wrecked a bar because his former associates tried to kill him, and he took a bunch of drugs and murdered them with his bare hands.
Yeah, all of those scenes play out like pretty much play by play from the anime.
There's a lot more dead civilians in the anime.
Yeah, but like in general.
There's a sequence that looks weirdly like the live-action Doom movie, where it's like shot on a GoPro strapped to Asimov.
Oh, that when he took the red eye.
It's not very good.
I'll be real. That's kind of what it looked like in the anime. Although they make it clear in the anime that he's straight up dodging their bullets. So
yeah, yes, he did. That's true.
So yeah, they, oh, God. Anyway, Spike completely ignores a Native American character that was present in the show, which will probably never appear in this show.
Mhm.
Because I don't know. I guess they didn't.
Maybe they
What?
thought that they wouldn't be able to do it sensitively, and they were just like, we shouldn't.
They didn't want to hire a Native American actor.
Who knows?
So he goes to a place for no reason because of this. I suppose they subbed in him walking around the neighborhood and showing Asimov's picture to people, which is subtle.
Mhm.
Good. At least they showed off their great sets.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's true.
He goes. He has the conversation at the fueling depot. Well, it's not a fueling depot. It's just a place in this.
Mhm.
With the girlfriend, who, by the way, is a different character now, and she was very Colombian in the
Yes,
anime.
she was very she was way darker in the anime.
She
for
was
one thing.
She was Sofia Vergara, but like young Sofia Vergara. In this, she's some English lady, and the reason that is so that Faye can be introduced like 5 episodes early.
Yes.
Because she's apparently some rich guy's daughter, and Faye's going to bring her in, and which leads to them getting to have a kung fu fight because
Mhm.
Faye Valentine does that.
Uh-huh. A kung fu fight whose choreography is, I will say, markedly different than the choreography in the first scene.
Yeah, so there's a lot of weirdness going on here. There's a lot of good action scenes and a lot of bad action
Yeah,
scenes.
it's weird
Yeah.
because sometimes I was just like, yeah, I like this fight scene. This is kind of a little bit like kung fu movie silliness, and I don't mind watching that. And
Did anyone? Sorry. Did anyone find it way too brutal for the tone? Like,
That
we'll get to that. We
in
should
this-
get to that.
in this, yes. Well, this is a bonus episode. We don't have to be particularly structured. Yes, it was weirdly violent for the tone. So
yeah.
the tone for Bebop is supposed to be somewhere between Western and noir most of the time. So
Yeah.
people get shot and they fall down, and it's sad. Which, by the way, is my strongest critique of this, but I'll get into that in a moment because
Okay.
it's gonna be a lot.
Mhm.
Sure.
But the tone in this is a lot weirder. It feels a lot more like bad kung fu movie in places because they have John Cho doing like weird Wing Chun things where he does the
Yeah.
bunch of little punches.
I
Yeah.
didn't mind that. I thought it was fun to
He does the
watch,
bunch of
honestly.
little rabbit punches, which you know what, not something I would have picked, but not that important. But he does a lot of weird. There's a lot of weird John Wick shoot people in the face that have big blood spatter behind.
Yes.
I didn't like the part where the guy, like, he kicks the knife into the guy, like, multiple times. That upset me deeply.
What?
That's
Do you remember that part where, like, this is in the casino scene?
Oh,
Yeah,
in the casino scene? Oh.
the
Yeah.
guy pulls the knife on him, and Spike turns it on him and stabs him, and then he keeps coming, so he just kicks the knife into him,
Oh, yeah. I missed that entirely somehow.
which is like
Yeah.
Kazuma Kiryu level brutality.
That was upsetting to me. Something
Listen,
about that was upsetting.
Listen, it's like a cool action thing, but also doesn't really fit the tone, like we were saying.
Yeah.
Also, nobody really bleeds in the casino scene, but there's lots of blood later,
There's so much blood.
Yeah.
which makes me think that there's some inconsistency going on here. It seems like these maybe were filmed weeks apart.
Mhm.
It almost feels like sometimes it's like a different show, like a different person decided to make a show
Mhm.
for each
Yeah.
of the segments. They were like,
Mhm.
all right, you'll get this segment, you'll get the casino scene, you'll get the the scene at the where they're
Yeah, where they're talking. You get the scene
Yeah.
at the airport.
Here,
Anyway, they
here's-
have. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I would just like to say to that point, and this might actually summarize the entirety of my opinion on the show, is that it feels like every scene or every scenario is a different group of cosplayers who have been assigned
Yes.
this segment of a Cowboy
Yes.
Bebop episode
Yes.
to reenact. And it's like a multi-animator project on YouTube, and
Oh
like
my
you're
God.
watching a playlist of like different cosplay videos reenacting Cowboy Bebop.
I
It-
do
it-
literally
Yeah.
have a line that says it's like watching cosplayers in my notes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So they where were we? They had the conversation there. They
Mhm.
Faye and Spike fight. It's dumb. He goes to shoot out their tires but can't because he remembers Julia. This will happen again. Why? I don't know.
They have to really like drive home like there's no subtlety. They really want you to
So
to notice it.
so yeah, he after some banter. By the way, there's it's not terminal, but there's just a little bit of that like fucking Joss Whedon, like I gotta say a quip now to the audience.
Yes,
Yeah.
I hated the banter. The banter was just awful.
The dialogue is so fucking bad, and John Cho is trying.
Yes.
Trying really hard to
He
make everything
served
work.
a good performance for what he was given, I think.
He's a good Spike. They're just not giving him anything.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, they go lock Faye in the bathroom. They figure out that that the syndicate is after Asimov, and also the girl is some rich asshole's daughter, which doesn't really come up again. Other than Faye is after her. And they go, "No, they're going to need a ship." And Spike's just like, "We shouldn't go after the syndicate. Also, I don't know why the syndicate. They were just some other mob in the original, and Spike didn't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
He kicked the shit out of a bunch of them
Yeah.
while standing on their car, which was really funny. But we didn't get to see that this time.
Yeah.
Nobody could pay John Cho enough to jump on top of a
No.
moving car.
I guess not.
So yeah, they go confront them at the spaceport where Asimov is trying to hijack a spacecraft. They show up to whoop his ass. He takes more drugs, smashes them into his eyes, nearly whoops, and then kind of gets his ass whooped by just
Yeah.
two dudes, which is kind of underselling what he did in the anime, where he could fully lift Spike off the ground with his hands and nearly crush his larynx.
Yeah.
Well,
And get
listen,
away
they're
with it.
scary syndicate people, so like
So
they're
they-
different.
So then the Crazy 88 show up.
I don't know what I was expecting, but this like futuristic mob showing up in just unmarked white vans seemed a little uninspired to me.
Yeah, a little.
Yes.
Like they could have at least been hover vans.
They could have at least been like an interesting choice of car. Like, what if it was just like what's the word? Like a Trans Am or something? Like they're all coming in. Like that'd be stylish. That'd be very funny.
Traditionally, it's like black town cars, you know? But anyway, so they have a four-way gunfight because Faye shows up in the middle of it while, by the way, it appears that Mustafa Shakir's job in this episode, and I don't know if the rest of it, is to get his ass whooped and get embarrassed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because Asimov does whoop his ass and nearly choke him to death, but Faye shoots him in the throat
Yeah.
from far away, which spurs them to make a break for it after, oh God, I've forgotten her name. After the girlfriend gets shot in her presumably pregnant belly, only to reveal it's much more of the drug.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
just her pregnant belly is full of.
Yeah, and there's this weird shot where, like, it's like Spike is looking at her like, oh my god, I can't believe she wasn't pregnant. But then, like, also, so is Asimov.
It's very strange.
He's like,
Also
babe?
got this look like, what the hell?
What the
Like,
fuck?
surely he knew that was there.
Yeah.
That was a part where I was so glad that it was a fake out and not actually she got her like. Because I was like,
No.
okay. But I was, for a moment there, I was like, oh my god, is this show just like completely oblivious to its tone or something like that?
No,
Like,
you only
No.
listen. You only shoot pregnant women with sniper rifles in DMC Devil May Cry. Well, anyway,
Damn.
so they make a break for it while Spike exposits at some mafia guys in a scene that didn't need to be there
Yeah.
to connect them to the Red Dragon Syndicate.
Again, no subtlety.
They get away. Spike chases them in the swordfish. Also, the vehicles in this are good.
Yeah.
They fall into just the CG. The swordfish is very good looking. All of the close-in shots of like panels and controls and stuff look appropriately grimy. There's a lot of flip switches. It's very nice.
yeah.
Chases them out to the gate, to the jump gate, and the ISSP are there, and they're saying, "Hey, you should stop, or we're going to shoot you." And Asimov is dying, and the girlfriend is just like, "Oh, there's not going to be any Mars for me," and chooses to commit suicide by cop, and that should be the end of the episode, but it's not.
But it's not.
Not.
It's
So-
going through a bit.
So here's the rest of it.
I hate this part.
So, when all should be said and done, we cut to a scene of some Red Dragon guys going through a big freezer that apparently is used to keep tuna,
Uh-huh.
so they can talk to their boss. Vicious the Death Eater.
They pass through the tuna tunnel and to go convene with the janitor from Harry Potter.
They went.
What have they done to him? He looks like Geralt, but stretched.
This is what I imagine Virgil Devil May Cry looks like, actually.
Fuck.
You're correct. Except he's blue themed,
A little bluer, yeah, but
and his hair goes up. So Vicious says some words.
Yeah.
He says words that he was supposed to say in nearly the final episode of the series to no one for no reason. Cuts his own underling's throat because hey,
Why?
because he's
Man.
vicious. But
he is
Man,
vicious.
Man, he didn't have to do that to Brian David Gilbert.
Stop it!
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that scene in particular was like, whoa, this is like ultra violent for what I feel like.
There's a weird, like, violent jump cut.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And then it's more.
And then there's more because he
Then
goes
there's more.
to rendezvous with a blonde woman who asks if everything's all right. And he's just like, yeah, it's great. And he kisses her. And I'm just like, is that supposed to be Julia?
Yeah.
I'm tired now.
It's supposed to be her.
I feel punchy. Am I seeing this correctly?
Like your eyes are
They
starting to cross.
specifically zoom in on the shoulder tattoo.
Yeah. She
So-
turns,
You
she
know?
turns around. She turns around and then they zoom in on the tattoo that she has of the plastic rose they've been dropping on the camera all episode.
So this leads into my greatest complaint about this show is that when they first showed the scene that actually opens the anime, the grayscale noir scene of the rose falling into the water, there is a particular music box theme playing, and they played a different one.
Huh.
The most important piece of music possibly in this show, aside from the real folk blues, and they played a stupid knockoff of it.
It's been long
Like-
enough since I've seen it that I couldn't remember. See, that's what gets me about this, is that, like, it's been long enough that I'm like, do I remember that happening in the anime, or did they put that here? Like, did this happen in this spot? I can't remember, and it's like disorienting.
It's emblematic of the problem with the show. They bludgeoned me to death with that rose. They took every ounce of gravitas or melancholy out of every scene that could possibly use it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like,
Look what they have done to my boy.
and like, no offense, but if you're gonna make this, like, if you're gonna show this scene 7 fucking times in your first episode, surely to God you could have sprung for an actual rose.
God. I don't think any of us liked the Blink-182 "Miss You" music video that we kept getting.
Stop it!
Someone should like take that scene and instead of having that music box theme, they should just put in like a music box "Happy Birthday" over top.
Everything is ruined forever.
So, if I may speak a bit as a person who has seen only some Cowboy Bebop,
Huh.
if this, picture it, you're in middle school and you come home and, you know, you've had a long day at school and you don't want to do your homework yet, so you turn on TV and you flip to the Sci-Fi Channel and this, like, weird, like, low-budget TV show is on. And it's like, this isn't really, like, good, but I guess I guess I can watch it. And then you just, like, watch it. And that's,
Yeah.
like, what this feels like.
Yes.
Like,
It did feel low budget.
if this was its own thing, and it wasn't based on an anime that is, like, hailed as one of the best of all time, like, on its own merits, this is, like, fine. It's not, like, the worst show I've ever seen in my life. It's not the best or even really a good one, but it's like a serviceable show. But even having a hint of what Cowboy Bebop is really like, even just having seen like the first 2 minutes of the movie where he goes into the grocery store and like watching this, it's like, this is your
not-
Cowboy Bebop? Like, this
So
is how you're choosing to present Cowboy Bebop to me?
So
We
Emma,
have-
what you're saying is this hypothetical middle schooler, if they at any moment watched a YouTube music video or like an anime music video with Cowboy Bebop clips in it, they would turn it off immediately.
I am not able to follow what you just said, but
I don't-
I'll laugh because I must.
I meant, well, anyway, go on, Magpie.
Man, I got tripped up by that.
Yeah, I think I stumbled
Me
over
too.
some words there.
But
It's been a long day.
God, we got Cowboy Bebop at home. Cowboy Bebop at home.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh,
So I gotta ask the question: would you watch any more of this?
Like, no, probably not, right?
If you
Like-
erased my mind, I might, because like I watched Stargate, the television show.
Sure.
Stargate, the television show, is more competent in certain ways.
I'm gonna go ahead and disappoint everyone and say that since this is on Netflix and I have a lot of time to kill at work, yes, I will be watching all of this.
Wow.
I do have to confront the fact that I know what they did to Ed in this.
I was about to say, Like I'm torn because I kind of want to know how bad it gets. But I sat down before we started after watching my animes, and I did watch the live action introduction of Ed.
It's
All of it.
extremely bad.
You-
I almost had to turn it off because it made me feel ill.
Yeah.
You can't
I-
be doing this. You cannot
That's-
make people act like cartoon
That's
characters.
my favorite. Okay, see, this is an important thing that I wanted to bring up, is that there are certain things that work in animation that they are trying to recreate exactly that don't work in live
Yeah.
action. And none of the way that Ed moves is it. No.
No.
They didn't even pick the ones that they could do and would be effective. The scene where Spike jumps
Exactly.
on top of those guys' car, it skitters to a halt. It's not moving, so
Yeah.
he can jump up on the roof of their car and kick them all in the face when they pop out to shoot him.
And also,
But they
that would be
didn't
a
do that.
fun stunt scene to put in your fun chase.
Yeah,
Like,
that,
that would be fun to watch.
that would be some fucking that Jackie Chan shit right there. It would work.
Exactly. Some of the most fun that I had while watching this was when they were doing the dumb action scenes, mostly. Sometimes it was bad, but
Mhm.
some of them were good. Some of them were fun to watch.
What about the rest of you? I guess.
My assessment is that it feels like they took a show, they put like all the money. It's like if a show that had like a script that was written in an evening got like an extremely high production value, like implementation for some reason.
But like,
Um,
not that high.
No,
Mhm.
but compared to like having a script that was written in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were certain scenes of this that felt like a low budget like martial arts film, and not like a Hong Kong theater one, like a Legend of Ricky O like one where
Yeah.
the shot is static for like 5 seconds while the character dispatches 4 goons.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seemed
just-
a lot like those like science fiction short films you can just find on YouTube.
Like people just running in from out of frame.
Yes, but sometimes
Yeah.
that's fun to watch. But
Really?
also, it's not Bebop. Like, it's not.
No,
But
That's
like,
not- That's not what Bebop is.
it's
just
so weird.
it took this like really like interesting, really charactered and flavorful anime and turned it into like an episode of Beakman's World where they start killing people. Like it's just it tries so hard to both like lean really hard into Cowboy Bebop's original like this like gravitas and this like over dramatization and like this sincerity, but then also into this like goofy like I watched a Quentin Tarantino movie one time and also I watched Kung Fu Hustle like
yeah.
like goofy live action like comedy combat camp.
Mm-hmm.
And it leans into both so like hard that it just can't carry that weight.
It cannot carry
No.
that. There was one scene where it pulled it off, which is
Which
the
one?
scene where the guy with the shotgun comes at Spike, and he pushes it up and over the guy's opposite shoulder while pushing him backwards
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
and having it fire over shoulder. That's something that would happen in Bebop because Bebop has its own share of Kung Fu Hustle stuff, but you can't switch genre
Yeah.
like the show does.
Yeah.
I feel like what they were trying to do was like, since this is made as like explicitly as nostalgia bait, it feels like they were like trying to throw in as many like little references and like little
Yeah.
nods as they could, but like while also being like, did you see what we did there? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Did you see
Look,
it?
guys.
It's like they were trying so hard to remind you about like stuff that happened in the anime that they forgot to make it a show.
They
I forgot to make
show.
it good.
And they forgot to put the fucking good in.
I did get a bit morose while I was watching it because I was like, I don't know how to make this better, and I sort of lost hope for television as a genre for a moment.
Like every single scene is just like literally like the director looking at you through the camera, like, remember Cowboy
Yeah.
Bebop?
Remember this?
Like, yeah, because I wish I was watching it.
Remember this? We're gonna do it badly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's the tone is really the biggest problem because
Yeah.
Yeah.
let me put it this way. I remember as like a teenager in Walmarts when DVDs were a new thing, looking at the fucking anime that had gotten into Walmart because Cowboy Bebop was popular. This is
Yeah.
why, by the way.
Yeah.
And seeing DVD sets of Cowboy Bebop, all of it, and then Cowboy Bebop, the plot episodes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, specifically
Yes.
the important ones to the Spike, Julia, Vicious story.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So I don't think there was any way that they were gonna come at it with this level of writing and succeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Anyway,
I don't know. It just feels like I like. Sorry that I've been, if I've been bogarting the conversation at
It's
all,
okay.
but it
No,
feels
don't
like-
I
worry.
know.
especially because I don't really have like a lot of experience with Cowboy Bebop. But it really, really, really feels like when you are doing like a school project and you have to write a skit, and you're like, I don't know how to make this good, so I have to be goofy. So
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
so at the very least, I won't look like an idiot because people will think I'm doing it on purpose. And that's
Yeah.
like what this show feels like. The show literally
Mhm.
feels like it's being so campy so that it can be like, well, if you don't like it, it's because we're being goofy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Back to
Like,
the headline.
Anyway,
Cowboy
we-
Bebop's not supposed to be good.
Not supposed to be-
literally.
Cowboy Bebop is not supposed to be good.
Well,
We gotta-
to answer
Alright.
your question, Mags, about if I'll watch it again, if there's like a standalone episode that I can watch at 2x speed, maybe.
Black will watch this at 5x speed and report.
Okay.
Can I get a quick secondary question for Blackle and Emma? Would you consider watching Real Bebop after this?
I'm like literally
Yes.
about to go downstairs and tie up my boyfriend and my roommate and make them
Yes.
watch real Cowboy Bebop
Okay.
with me.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, at least
So it's
some
done
good came out
something.
of it. At least
Yeah.
you like for other people, at least some good. For me, everything is ruined and I am inconsolable.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it'll be okay.
But anyway, see you next time, Space Cowboys.